Welcome to the VR Boxing Rating and Feedback Association's first report on the very new game, Boxing Underdog. Our ultimate goal is helping create and rating boxing games to help you find the most realistic ones. This report has been done in a closed beta, and currently our goal is to help give the developers extensive and analyzed feedback, along with a rating to place it with our other boxing games in terms of realistic gameplay. You can find the written report in our Discord in the link below, along with our rating system and how we rate in each category. You can also apply to become one of our testers who help us make these reports. Hope you all enjoy. Also, if you already saw the written report or you just don't care very much, you can always skip to the end where we'll give an overview of our ratings. So we're just going to quickly go over our damage calculations for a few seconds here before we go into showing you how we're testing these. So our sources are right here on the right side if you'd like to look at them yourselves. And here is the numbers and all the different punches we're going to be testing out. So here you see our jab is 45, and then you can see numbers for our cross and our hook. So these are the ideal numbers. So you can see how we're calculating these is our jab is 1.0x. This is what our multiplier is going to be. And then you can see our cross is 1.7x to 2.0, which is how much we're going to multiply it from our jab. So for an example here, if our jab is x and it's equal to 45, we're timesing that by 1.7 to 2.5x to get our cross. And this is going to give us the most accurate result because we're using a range instead of an exact number, so this would be more friendly to all types of boxers of different weights. When we come back here, we're going to have two charts filled out. We're going to have my jab followed by these exact calculations. That's going to show what the accurate number is, and below that you're going to have another chart similar to that showing what Boxing Underdog gave, and this will give us a great accuracy to where Boxing Underdog is for their damage system. And then I'm going to be finding the average. So for a jab here, we found an average of 37.50, or rounding it up, just 37. Now moving on to our cross here, we can see that we are hitting at about the 120 to 130 range. After averaging up about 20 different crosses, we got an average of 123.29, or rounding it down, just 123. Now you see us moving on here to the right hook, and we're getting an average of about 156.75, or rounded down 156. Now moving on to the biggest damage dealer of the pack, we have the overhand right. So testing this, we found there was a bit of an average of 158.8, or rounded up 159. Now this shows us, compared to the right hook, that there may be some issues with calculating how speed impacts into damage in the game. Also, one issue we did have is when we were trying to test out the weak points, especially to the body, when we would hit it, it would drag off into a lower number, which made it really hard to tell what we were actually hitting. So here you see me trying to use my jab to distinguish if I hit right to the abdomen versus the solar plexus. From testing, you will see later in this video, we're actually not even sure if the developers have put on weak points, but if they have, it definitely isn't working very well. So here I'm trying to show that drag I was showing off on the liver shot we tried to test. So the liver is located to the right of the solar plexus and about 2 to 3 inches down. We were able to get pretty good numbers when we were doing the flat body hooks, but when it came to the liver shots, it was extremely hard to get a number. So now we're taking my jab from earlier, and we are putting into the realistic multiplier, which is 2x for our cross, 2.75 for our hook, and 3.18x for over and right. The outputs would have been 37, of course, for my jab, 74 for my cross, 90 for my hook, and 117 from overhand right. Now, what we actually got multiplier-wise for our jab, of course, still 37, but we had about 3.32x for our cross, which is 173. And looking back into here, that is about 1.3x too much damage. Looking to our right hook, it's even worse here. We had 156 as our number, which is a 4.22x multiplier. That is just about 1.8 too much. Then looking into our overhand right, actually this was an issue. Overhand right should be your most powerful punch. We only got about 2 more. We did about 45 different overhand rights. So it seems the game needs to rework the way it may calculate speed. Yeah, but for overhand right we should have got 117, but you can see that there is about Now,
27
moving on to the
damage
defense
between overhand
category,
and overhook.
one thing that was really
Going here,
striking
this
to us
one's
that was
2.
a big issue was the elbow mechanics. Comparing it to a game like Thrill of the Fight 2, I'd say that game currently has the best elbow mechanics, and if you've sparred or competed or even have any formal training, you'll know that elbow is the way we block any straight punch to the body, our shovel hooks, flat body hooks, and it's a very crucial part. So not having any elbow mechanics and having very flexible elbows to move is a big issue for defense. Now, here's some footage here of me showing you the Thrill of the Fight 2, just for a comparison so you guys can understand what I'm talking about. They're very flexible, very bendable, almost perfect, but this is something that Boxing Underdog should strive to try to copy. Right, now that's out of the way. We're just going to move on to our hand defenses. So here we have some parrying. One thing I did notice quickly, so our tester here is just going from slow to fast, and I'm just parrying these. It may look like I'm reaching for them. That's just how it looks from when I'm in the VR, but a real parry, you're just turning over your hand, maybe going slightly out, but not very much. So I did notice when I have my full hand on the punch, it does parry, but even if I have just half off, it does slip down. So that's really nice, and I'm glad that's there. So moving on, I'm just defending some hooks, just a basic hook block, nothing much. I'm putting my hand on the side of my head. So this should block pretty much any regular hook with the standard 10-ounce gloves. I did see that, yeah, it was being very responsive. It was being good. Nothing really was getting through. The little bit you see that was getting through here is just graze as it comes off my head. So here's some spit of footage with our tester. We did about an hour of this, but we were just doing defending, so I get the feel for it. One thing that was missing was hit feedback to help adjust my defense. Another thing that I noticed was you can low belt. You can even just put your head in the floor, especially during being stunned, and that really does make it really gamified and takes away from being defensive as in skill. Doing a minor physical control here into the physical control and clinching category, we're doing a forearm block. It's like making a hook, then raising your opponent's glove up. We actually found it to not be that bad, except for when your opponent was using full power. It would often slide up and do full damage to your forehead. It wouldn't mitigate any damage whatsoever, which was an issue. Now, with clinching and physical controls, there needs to be a system in place for us to actually rate them. As you can see here, our tester just punched, walked right through us, and then was able to whale us from behind. We can't actually rate any physical controls because they can't really be measured without having a clinching system in place. Now moving on to the gamification and spam category, I told our testers to specifically bend their wrists back, cannot bend their elbows on hooks, and literally just let their hands wail. As you can see here, he does a ton more damage, he gets more knockouts on me, and it seems like spam is a major issue, especially by the community. They reported having a lot of issues with players just spamming and phasing through. And the phasing is also a big issue, as we covered in the clinching category, which it goes through gamification. We define gamification as moving away from realism to more of an arcade style game like Creed Rise to Glory. It seems like spam is just a giant issue right now, and we hope they can improve this rapidly going forward. Moving on to knockout measurements, we're basically testing what combos will knock someone out that would 1000% knock them out of their life. So here we're doing a 1, 2, 3, 4, or a jab, cross, left hook, right to the chin, full power. It doesn't knock them out. Now we move on to a cross, left hook, cross, reload, cross, and a 3 to the chin. And it doesn't knock him out. Now, what we expect is going on here is when your opponent gets worn out, their punches, especially in later rounds, are more susceptible to knockouts. But in the first round, it's virtually impossible to get it done early. So we feel like the knockout system definitely needs a good rework here, and I hope this can display that well. I'd like to also say to the devs that reworking the damage system first before the knockout system would allow them to have a lot less work on their hands. Now lastly, we move into punch effects. This one I think was one of the most solid ones we had for testing. Basically, the punch is going to punch me in the eyes, or tester's just hitting some straights. We're going to see how it blinds my vision and affects me. So as you can see, their glove actually goes through my skull. And what's wrong with this is if you ever sparred or fought, you'll know when you're getting punched in the eyes, there is definitely a blinding effect. But if it's going through my skull, it's not actually having the exact same effect. Now, if it was a solid thing it was hitting in the VR, it would give a different effect. You can actually feel it and see it for a second when the straights are in your face, and this will give a huge level of realism that I've actually not seen any other boxing games really implement, and this would definitely be a giant level up. Here we are at the end. After all of that, we're going to add up our totals, as you can see on screen right here, and the total for Boxing Underdog's first report on beta is 38 out of 150. For reference, we gave Thrill to Fight 2's last report a 51 out of 150. Anyway, guys, thank you for reading or watching this. We usually would take about 3 weeks on a project like this, and we actually only had 2 days. I pulled over 2 all-nighters to get this done, and we really hope this is a step in the right direction for us to start working closer to the devs of Boxing Underdog. We see this game having so much potential, and we expect it to overtake the market in terms of realism in the next couple of months or so. In that time frame, we will also drop a second report upon a major update. It's going to be even better, even more detailed, because we'll have a lot more time.